Hello everybody, I am Tessy Koshy and I welcome you all to Power Talk, part of our Power of Pages Book Club's Expert Talk series, where we invite a guest for an informative chat. And today we are so excited to have Sangeeta Manglani with us. She is a psychologist and a relationship coach. Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for taking our time and being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's very interesting the way you guys are reading a book. I'm so excited. Maybe I would like to join you guys as well sometime.
So I want to give you all a brief introduction about Sangeeta. Sangeeta is also known as the connection coach. She has over 25 years of experience helping people strengthen both their personal and professional relationships. She believes in applying spiritual psychological principles in her coaching, delving into the human being's highest consciousness. She offers a set of customized programs to foster self-awareness, enhance relationships, and facilitate dialogue between parents and the children. Her own personal journey began while coping with her teenage daughter. She is trained in Masters in Spiritual Psychology. So we've just finished reading Five Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, a book full of wonderful insights. And my questions are mostly around that. My first question is, what are those red flags that a couple should look out for in their relationship?
So, if we look at red flags, I guess the first and the most important is communication. Because that's what we don't do. And especially coming from Asian culture, we haven't been taught to communicate. We've always been taught that, you can, it's okay, you can manage, it's fine. But the fact that we have to speak it out, it's very, very important. So that's one of the red flags that either you're not communicating enough. The second one I would say is a lot of empathy and compassion. Putting yourself in the other person's shoes, that gives you a perspective. Third, I would say is perception. Probably if we have time, I'll try and do an exercise with you guys because that will help you understand how perception really works. Because you don't see things the way other person thinks or says it. So I always love this quote: the message sent is not always the message received. It's always lost in transition. So I think these are three main big flags that you should look out for in a relationship where you can amend or mend your relationships, I would say.
Wow. So when two people live together, there are bound to be arguments. And we are always taught that, we should respond and not react, but how do we reach there?
Yeah, so responding and reaction, these are two, very similar words in one way or the other, but response is very quick. You don't think about it and you just, reaction is what you just do immediately. Respond is when you take some time, think about it, and then you speak. So I'd say, first important thing is to become self-aware. If you know what triggers you, you will be able to take a step back and then go from there. So your first thing is know yourself better, understand yourself, understand your own triggers. And maybe the trigger is not right or wrong. I will get upset if someone behaves, dumb, or if someone reacts in a way which they shouldn't react. But we don't know the space that person is coming from at that moment for them to react in that way. So let's take a step back, understand ourselves, become aware. Once you become aware, I think breathing is the classic thing that you can do at any point in time. And sometimes it's just about your 5 fingers. Just roll down your fingers this way and go breathing in and out. You will just realize that you've calmed down so much. It could be in different ways, like whatever works for you. Lift your hand, put it down, or just count backwards 10 to 1. It just brings you back in perspective. Once you've done that, then go back, think about what happened. Sometimes I, with my daughter, even take a break, like for example, we are arguing. As a coach, I can also get upset. So if any coach tells you that I never get angry, I never get upset, I never react, I'm sorry, that person is lying. I react because I'm a mother first and then I'm a coach. So I have to remind myself that, you are the coach, you have more techniques. So I then tell my daughter, I think we're not in the space of conversation. Let's take a break and come back when we can speak. So I think that works wonders in a relationship. Go back, think, sometimes just take a glass of water, sip to it slowly, you will calm down and then you will know what to really talk. And that's when you will not react, but you will listen.
What are the biggest relationship breakers you see in your coaching life?
So, communication is one big one I see. I mean, it's so huge that, especially women, they are fearful of having a conversation. They think that if we speak, we may end up spoiling the relationship, but not realizing that not speaking is ending it up even further. So that's one. The second biggest one I am seeing today, at least in this current time, is infidelity. Now, that's a very big one, but we don't realize that infidelity is not just because someone wants to fall out of a relationship. It's again because you've not communicated enough. It's because you haven't shared your feelings enough. So I think these two are big ones for me. The third one is, of course, understanding the other person and trying to see from that person's perspective. It's very easy to say that, this person thinks this way. I'm sure when you read the love languages, it's the way I want love. If I'm not receiving love that way, that's again a very big space that I fall out because I feel I'm not getting love. But that person may be giving you love, but giving you love in a way that he understands love or she understands love. It's just that you don't connect with that love at that moment. So you want to now talk about it, understand it with your partner, what are your love languages, and then work from there. So I think that really helps. And of course, the biggest fallout is infidelity, which I'm seeing very massive. Another one is, I think, nowadays women, because we have become so outgoing, we have become so open, we have started responding and reacting to things very quickly. We also have our ego, men also have our ego, and I think ego is the biggest problem that we have. So when we talk about spiritual psychology, we want to not see people from a space of ego, but we want to see people from a space of love. So that's why when I talk about communication, I speak about heart-centered communication.
A couple can build more empathy and understanding. Are there any daily practices that they can do?
See, considering today's day and age, the kind of rat race that we are in, it's very difficult to say, that every day you can spend X amount of time or exactly this type of time. But I guess those very small moments of sharing, sometimes it can be just a WhatsApp message. It's not that hard to send a message to your partner just expressing your love. It's not difficult. But we just feel, oh, I'm not receiving it, so why should I do it? That again is an ego pattern that we are into. Another thing is having a cup of tea together. Sometimes, if you have the time, try to exercises together, try to an activity together, and like weekly you can have a family activity time. That really helps the bonding and takes it to another level. I always even recommend my clients to go on coffee dates because it may not be every day. You don't have to do coffee dates every day. It can be once a month. But that once a month, when you're on a coffee date, don't carry your phone with you or keep your phone aside. Because we are at a restaurant with family, but we are on the phone. So we want to keep the phone aside. We keep maybe 20 minutes of time, that's fine. But that 20 minutes is got to be just you and me. And that time when you express, that time when you speak, it becomes very important. I also tell my clients that they shouldn't be arguing during that 20 minutes. It's about listening. It's not about judging. It's not about telling the person what they should do, what they should not do. It's about just listening, taking it in, and then maybe another time discussing what you felt was right or wrong. Because that 20 minutes is like your bonding time with yourself. So yeah, that can really help.
Those are amazing tips, I think. So how does one transform any relationship? It could be with your parent, a child, or a partner, or a friend.
So when we talk about relationships, it's actually very simple. It's about, as I said, first it's understanding yourself. When we don't understand ourselves enough, then our expectations rise a lot. So I'm expecting my child to react or do things in a particular way. And it's right, there's nothing wrong in disciplining your child, it's absolutely essential, it's very, very important. But now, putting your child down and disciplining your child is a problem. And especially today's age, the children are so exposed to things. Like our days, I tell myself that maybe I was dumb in those days, like I would hardly react. Even the way our parents would tell us to do things, we would do it, but inside we would be in, that a lot of things would go on inside of us. We did not have probably the courage to voice it. Yeah. We didn't have the courage to voice it out, but today's kids have the courage. They are ready to go headstrong with you and challenge you. Unless they don't agree to something, they will not accept it as well. So now what we've got to do is come to their level. Try to come down to them and see what is it. Ask them questions instead of directing them. When you ask them questions and probe them, they will give you the answers. From there you shift their perspective. Because what I've seen parents mostly do is, no, you cannot do this. No, I mean, okay, I cannot do this, but why should I not do this? So like even when children come back home, what do you ask them? How was your day? And what would they say? Nice. Oh, good. These are the two words they've said. Now, what have you actually got from that nice and good? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, what could you do? What did you do in class today? He cannot say, or she cannot say nice or good. Now there will be an explanation that they will come. Or even if they say nothing, you probe another question, very open-ended questions where they give you answers and then you go dig deeper. That builds your relationship or bonding with them. Even with your spouses. It's not about just work, it's not just about what he did in the office, but it's about how was your day, what did you do today. Those are kind of things that will really help you connect and bond with them at a very different level, I think.
Yeah, those are amazing points. And so we've learned so much now how to deal with a relationship, but what happens when you've done everything and still you know that your relationship is sinking? So when do you know that it's enough?
So I think sometimes it's very hard to say that, okay, this relationship is enough or I'm done with it. I think it's very personal, it's very individualistic, because sometimes a person may think it's enough but has no choice but stay in the relationship. It could be for whatever reasons, it could be for finances, it could be for parental pressure. So as a coach, I cannot tell somebody like, okay, your relationship is done, you want to get out of this relationship. That's an advice. As a coach, I'll never advise anybody. I will only try and advise them or give them a space where they understand themselves to see, can I take this anymore or can I not? Or have I done everything that's in my capacity? I think people fall out even before they've tried for help. So some couples may not agree to go for coaching, right? So they would say that, oh no, it's not fine because I don't know what people will think about us, so we are okay to suffer. I would say that if you've tried everything in your capacity, it's important to take help, because the way you've tried may be not the right way. It's not about right and wrong, but it just may not be enough the way you're trying. Because again, ego is a big player here. So because I'm angry and because that person is upset, I am reacting in ways that is affecting the other person even more. So as a third party, even when I take relationship couples together, I never do joint sessions. Because what happens is that I'm always pointing fingers at you and you're always pointing fingers at me. So what I always do is I take individual sessions, and then after 2 or 3 individual sessions, I have one combined session. Because in that individual session, I've worked on you. Once you work on yourself, then the way you react or behave in a relationship automatically starts to shift. And then it's easier for the two of you to come together and say, then I can ask you, okay, what shifts do you see? Okay, if you see these shifts, now how do you want to progress further? So as a couple, it's also very important that you talk about what problems you all are having. Maybe the other person is just uncomfortable with the way you do things. I know of people who one partner requires cleanliness to the next level, The other person doesn't care about cleanliness. For them, something else is important. But because for me that is important, it becomes a problem in a relationship. Now, how do you deal with this? That person's not going to change. So you've got to find ways of how you can shift that or how you can do things. They're very small things, and I always say that an outer reflection is a reflection of something inside of you. It's a very broad thing to talk about, and sometimes you think, how is that even possible? So very quickly, I'll give you an example. I am crazy when it comes to cleanliness. I cannot deal with, messy places and all. And my daughter is exactly the opposite. Her room can be absolutely messy. If I open her cupboards, clothes can fall off. And it's like, why on earth do you keep your room like that? And her answer to me is, it's my room, don't enter. So I'm like, okay, but it's my house. So this is part of my room. I have to enter. I cannot not enter. So for a minute I thought, what do I do with this? And then I sat back and I thought, okay, something is a reflection of inside of me. What is that? And I started to look backwards and I realized that I keep everything clean, but when it comes to work, my desktop is in a mess. Like I have folders all over my desktop. Now that's because people can't see it, or it's something that only I am working on. It's okay for me. So I started arranging my folders. It was about 2 or 3 days, and then one day, after 3 days, my daughter comes and tells me, Mom, my room looks horrible. Can you please help me sort this out? So that was a reflection for me to go deeper in myself and see what is it that I need to work on, so that automatically then sorts out. So there's a lot of things like that you can experience and see in relationships as well, that just come forward to you for working on yourself, and this is where your spiritual growth starts.
True. And we got a little window about how you became a coach.
Yeah.
Now we would like to know more in length
Sure.
exactly what has been your journey.
And so I have been working for about 20-25 years with corporates. But I've been a trainer and a coach throughout my life. But I was training and being a coach in the corporate world. And it was all about, I was in insurance industry and I used to train, I used to coach communications and all of that in the organizations. And I was very happy doing what I was doing. There was no intentions of becoming a life coach or a relationship coach, nothing whatsoever. And then in my journey, as I said earlier, like my daughter came up, and then when I started to go on that journey, the change in the relationship that I had with her was tremendous. So I started to realize that if by me working on myself would change my relationship, I can help so many more people to just do that. But I did not know how to do it, and honestly I used to earn a very good package. I was not ready to leave my job, because why should I? I've come here to earn. So I wanted to earn that amount of money, and I was like, no, I'm not going to leave my job, so I'll do it, part-time. But somehow, when you do part-time, the focus is not as much as you can do, because your work itself is 8 hours plus, then your family, and then you do an additional thing. It becomes very, very tedious. So then, as they say, the universe starts to guide you. I wanted to do a little more, so I went and did 3 years of spiritual psychology, and I've done this from the US university. They expected that I should fly down every month to the US, because they never had this program online. And I was like, no, that's not something that I can do. So my coach was helping me work around it, and then I went for a workshop to the US for 5 days. That point of time, I knew this is my life, and I want this. But how? Because it was never online. And then the universe got COVID in. So the first batch of online, I went, from there I started, and my mentors literally told me, have you got COVID in to get this thing? I said, I don't know, whatever it is, it's in my favor, I'm going to go with it. So I did 3 years, and then from there I thought, now how do I leave my job? Again, universe is great. They made me redundant. In fact, my entire team of 30 people were made redundant because the whole company was bought over and they wanted to move the whole thing to UK. So I was like, okay, now is the chance, because I would not do it on my own. So universe said, come on, Sangeeta, here's the opportunity, now take it, or you go back again to job. And I said, no, I'm not going back to job, I'm going to do this. And that's how my journey started.
And lots of people benefited from it, I'm sure. So thank you so much, Sangeeta. We had such an insightful talk and a meaningful time together. I really want to thank you from my bottom of my heart for being here.
Thank you so much.